Hey guys, it's Paige Pierce. Welcome to my 2025 in the bag. For starters, I'm using my collaboration with Discraft, Grip, and myself, the B series bag. These are the Fierce stamped ones. They got the cool topographic map on the side. I love the B series because it has everything a big backpack bag should have, but it's not huge. I still can carry about 24 discs in here right now. So in the top, that's where I want to start. I got my putters. My putting putters are just base stock Fierces, but these are just stock discs that I took the stamp off of. I love how they feel. They're super firm and flat, and the Fierce is probably Discraft's most underrated putter. I just believe wholeheartedly in straight putting putters, and these are the straightest putter I've ever thrown. That's why I like them, because when I miss, I know why I missed. If I missed left, I early released. If I missed right, I turned my wrist. So Fierces, you're gonna find these in my bag the whole year, hopefully. Hopefully I don't lose those. Next up, I got a few more Fierces. I carry 3 different Fierces in my bag for throwing putters. When I first joined the team, this was the first disc we made, Player of the Year, CryZtal Fierces, and this is the first one that I threw. It's cool looking down at it and realizing how many memories I have with this disc. But for this one, this is like my beat-in, understable putter. I can hit it hard and flat and it'll just get a subtle fade to the right. But if I put a little bit of hyzer on it, it'll get that slight hyzer finish as well. So it's just kind of point and shoot. Next up in stability, I got the ESP Swirl. This is probably my favorite run of Fierce just because it's the most versatile. I can throw it on a hyzer, but I can also throw it on an Annie. It's very torque resistant, so I can hit this thing hard. And some of you might remember this exact Fierce. I put it back in my bag this year as kind of like a, I want to rewrite history disc. This is the disc that I lost the World Championships to Katrina Allen in Utah with. I threw it straight out of bounds, but it was kind of this thing where I put it back in my bag this year because it wasn't the disc, it was me, and I'm ready to rewrite history. So you'll see this thing fly and get me lots of birdies this year. All right, and the last Fierce in my bag is the newest one to me. It's a UV Glo Fierce. This thing tricks me sometimes because it looks white right now, and then I'll throw it in the sunlight. I'm looking for my disc and it's bright blue. It's beautiful, but the reason I put it in my bag is the flight. It's absolutely crazy flight for a Fierce. It's very overstable. It's like my headwind flyer. It's very torque resistant. I can smack it as hard as I can and it's still gonna push left at the end. So this thing you will be seeing a lot if it gets windy or if I need to make sure it goes left. My next approach disc is, I would say, hands down the most underrated Discraft disc, but I've been doing my part to get people throwing the Sol. I think this is the #1 disc I would recommend to anybody, whether you are a first-time player or a seasoned pro. So it's very glidey, mid-range, that has an understable finish. So when I don't want to throw sidearm, I'm throwing the Sol. I'll just pop it flat to a slight bit of hyzer, and the first 70% of its flight, it'll be very straight, and then it'll get a late fade on the last 30% of its flight, and it's like a cheater disc. It feels like a remote control, and a lot of times people that I'm playing with think that I shanked it, and then it gets that late turn, and it's just a thing of beauty. One of my favorite discs to watch fly. I carry it in both Z and ESP. The Z is my signature disc. It's the one that I rely on the most. It pops up easier. This one has a little bit more torque resistance, so if I'm feeling like I got tournament power and I'm flipping them up a little too quick or too hard, I'll go up in stability to the ESP Swirl, and yeah, they complement each other very well. Next up is the Zone. Every Discraft player, every player has a Zone in their bag. You guys know this disc. I carry it in the Jawbreaker and then the CryZtal Sparkle. I love the Jawbreaker for one, for the grippiness, but also when it hits the ground, it's also gripping. Another reason is because it's like a beat-in Zone right out of the box. So if you don't want it to finish super hard to the left, I'm throwing this one. If I want it to go super hard left or get some ground play, I'm throwing this one. I throw this one a lot on sidearm as well. All right, next up is another very popular Discraft mold. It's the Buzzz. I carry it in Z and Jawbreaker. I love the Z, it's very versatile. I can throw it on a hyzer and hyzer straight, any type of shot I want. It stays in the fairway. If I'm ever in doubt, I'm gonna be going to the Buzzz and just placement shots, putting myself in the fairway. This one is kind of new to my bag. It's Jawbreaker. It's actually baseline just like my Zone is. I love the grip. You'll see me throwing this a lot in the rain. I've been working with this plastic a lot in rainy rounds. The first thing that drew my attention to it was just how beautiful it was. I found a stack of them at the warehouse and I was like, this thing is gorgeous. Started throwing it and it flies just like a premium plastic buzz would. So it really holds up well and it's just really grippy. So I can really trust my grip in it in the rain or any kind of subpar conditions. You're gonna see me relying on this disc a lot, and also just like any disc in this plastic, I'm really leaning on. Last mid for my bag is the Buzzz OS. I love it in ESP Swirl. It's just really overstable, very, very consistently overstable. So I can hit this thing just like I would a normal buzz, but the last like 30% of its flight, it just really dumps off to the left. So it kind of flies in between a buzz and a Raptor for me. All right, and next up, my most used disc is the Passion. I'm bagging 3 of them currently. For my understable one, I'm using a prototype. And by understable, I really wouldn't say it's very understable, but I can get it to flip up and turn and hold on the right. So a lot of times I'll pop this up the left side of the fairway, knowing it's gonna flip up to flat and just push forward. So that is if I need it to fade a little right. Next up is another new one to my bag. This is also from that release we did for the holidays. This is a ESP and it's Glo. So this one, I just love this at Glo. I wanted to make sure I had some Glo discs and I like the stamp. It's like a little present, but mainly this thing is just like go-to for everything, honestly. This thing goes so straight, and I can hit it as hard as I possibly want and it just flies forward. So I can throw this thing anywhere between 300 to 400 feet. So I get a lot of use out of this disc because 300 to 400 feet dead straight is very good in disc golf, it turns out. So this thing I've been relying on a lot. So I probably grabbed about 20 of them when I realized how good they flew. So even if I lose this one, I will have backups, and I think that's super important because we are playing a lot of courses where we're losing discs, and knowing that this run is very straight out of the box is very good. Last up, I got ESP Swirl. This is like my stable run. I always have an ESP Swirl in my bag. This one's just absolutely gorgeous. And this one I can hit a little bit harder and it will still hyzer out. So if I'm looking for something not quite as stable as like a Vulture or a Raptor, I want it to hit the fairway and glide straight farther, but I do still want a left finish. This is what I'm going with. My next fairway driver is another new one to my bag as of this off season. It is the ESP Vulture. I'm throwing the 2023 Holland Hanley stamp. I like the bottom stamp. Holland got me on these. She was saying you need something in between your Passion and your Raptor, and I didn't think it was a gap that I had in my bag, but after putting it in, I absolutely use it all the time. The Raptor, I'm getting about 280 to 300 feet, and then it starts hooking up really hard to the left. This thing flies very similar to the Raptor, but I can get it about 320 to 340 before it starts hooking up hard to the left. So yeah, they're very similar for me, but this one I can push a little bit straighter for longer. So I really love that addition to my bag. And then the last fairway driver in my bag right now is the Z Raptor. Like I just said, if I need something to go super hard left and throw between 280 and 300 feet, this is my go-to. It also gets a lot of ground action. I throw it on sidearm a lot and backhand. All right, my absolute favorite disc in my bag right now is the Drive. This is my newest release with Discraft. We collaborated on this 11-speed driver. It's very straight. It's like the perfectly beat-in distance driver that you wish you had. It's not the most overstable one in our lineup. It's just the straightest, and I don't have to try as hard to get it to go far. So I'm getting the full S flight. I can hit it really hard, and I have it in a few different plastics, so they have different stabilities. If you see me grab a distance driver and it has to land in bounds, it's a very clutch shot. It's probably gonna be this one right here. This is the ESP Swirl Drive. It's just very point and shoot. It flies like a Passion, but way faster and farther. It's got the overstable finish, but it'll give you that full S flight, so you can get easy distance with it. And out of all the plastics we've ran it in so far, I really love the ESP Swirl. It just flies like a perfectly seasoned one straight out of the box. So this one is, when we designed the disc together, this is what I wanted the flight to be like. When we did design it, this was the very first one I got. This is Z, and these ones came out with a little bit of a dome. They have pop top. This is my headwind fighter for a drive. This one ends up hyzering out the hardest out of all of these, and it gets a lot of ground action. Also, I just like the way that the dome came out in this plastic. It feels the best in my hand, and I know if I need it to hyzer left, this is my go-to. Another drive that's been very important to my bag is the Z Swirl. You'll notice that these are the same plastic as the Tour Series, so I've had this for a little while now working with it, and they fly incredible. It's very similar to the ESP Swirl actually in flight, but it just feels different. You guys know the difference between Z and ESP in your hand. It's a little more opaque. It feels a little bit more tacky, and they came out very similar in shape, so I think if you like one, you're gonna like the other. It's just kind of dependent on what plastic you like. I do have 2 more drives in my bag right now, but these I'm just kind of experimenting with. This is the ESP Swirl, but it's 166. I grabbed some of the lighter weight ones just to see how they fly compared to the max weight. The Swirl came out a little bit less, and they came out a little bit softer. For now, I don't notice a big difference in the flight, but I'm gonna try to start getting into more open fields and hitting it really hard and seeing if that little bit lighter weight gets me more distance. And then I always just have at least one ESP stock drive in my bag. I like how this one feels a lot. It feels a lot like my Z one with the dome. I'm always looking for runs that have some stiffness and some dome to them. I feel I'm getting the best glide with these, so breaking this one in, and it'll probably end up making the bag in the next month or so. All right, and then I got 2 more distance drivers in my bag. I got the ESP Zeus, and I got the ESP Nuke. These are 2 discs that kind of come in and out of my bag dependent on the course. My main driver actually used to be the ESP Zeus. It is similar to the drive, but it flies a lot farther left. So this thing hyzers out a lot harder. If I have OB on the right and I don't want a chance going OB, flipping a drive over and getting too much glide to the right, I'll grab the Zeus and know I can throw it a little bit harder or a little bit wider, and it's gonna come back left. It's also a really good driver for my spike hyzer shots, like power hyzers over the top of trees. You'll see me throwing that one. Shout out to my friends at Stash Disc. They hooked me up with this used one. Feels amazing. Thank you to Bente, who lost your Zeus. I use it all the time. All right, and my last disc in my bag is the ESP Nuke. This is another one of my signature discs. It comes in and out of my bag, but I would say the time you're gonna see it in my bag the most is in the middle of the year, in the summer, where we are in the more open courses. They're longer shots, and a lot of the courses at that time of year are also like golf courses, and they have a lot of ground play. So this thing skips so much. It's a speed 13, it's a wide rim driver. It flies similar to my Zeus in the stability aspect, but it goes a lot faster, and when it hits the ground, it still wants to keep flying so much. You'll get like 4 or 5 skips out of this thing. So a lot of times I'll throw it on golf courses or somewhere where there's a lot of land and it gets a lot of skip. All right, that does it for my 2025 in the bag. I hope that you guys see some of these discs flying on coverage, getting me some birdies, and hopefully you try some of them for yourself and you get some birdies as well. I'll see you out there on the road in 2025. Thanks for watching.